Hi guys, John here, Mr. Forex Fire. So it's been a few weeks since I've done one of my sessions, simply because I caught the COVID a few weeks ago. Was really bad with it, but we're going to try, soldier on, see if we can get a session done today. And because I haven't done a session for a while, we're going to go back to the basics on how I come across the 1 minute scalper and the foundations of it, what we're looking for and how to mark the charts up. So I hope you're all fine and well. I just want to say thank you for all the messages I've been getting while I've been bad, because I did go through a really rough patch, but I'm sort of on the mend now anyway. So anyway, let's go. If you keep seeing me changing my eyes over, I'm looking at another screen as well, because I've got my eyes on a few trades that I'm doing on my live trading. Excuse me. Hopefully I'll not be doing that too much either. So let's just share the screen and get my handsome face in that top corner. So as always, we're going to treat this as the Euro USD, because the spreads are small on this, and we're going to be looking at the overall picture. Okay, so first of all, just ignore the stuff that you're seeing on here, because I was having a little bit of mess around while I had them few days off, while I was looking at stuff. Again, you can see on here there was a trade on here. It came to a 1 to 3.78, and I've still got me drawings from obviously in the past as well. So I'm just going to get rid of a few things here, guys. Okay, so just bear with me. Let's take a look. So we can see the imbalance has been met there as well. We'll just get rid of that. Right, so as always, I always go to a 15-minute chart. I'll look at an hour chart as well. And we're just going to, it is looking messy this at the moment, but we'll take no notice of this. So just going to give me an overall picture of what we're looking at, what we're playing at, a state of play. Right, so let's take a look. So we've still been on this massive downtrend from as late back as June. So again, we've come down with an impulsive move. This is on the hour chart, and we sort of hit an area which is accumulation on the downside. Let's take a look. Is there anything back here? Yeah. So we're heading back down into these sort of areas where there's support and resistance on the bottom. Let's go back over. Let's drive it down to the 5 minute. I just want to sort of try and drill in a bit. So it looks like we're ranging in the market, most certainly, okay? And we're going to get into marking your goalposts up in a minute, but we can see definitely we've got a range in market there at the moment. And on there, we've only got 27 pips. And the reason how I know that, guys, is simply because we've got 273, drop the last number, 27 pips. Okay, there's 27 pips, the date range from there to here. We're looking for three days. Inside of 3 days, there's only been 27 pips movement. So today could very well be just a basics. Let's show you how we get set up, because 27 pips movement is not something really that we're looking for with regards to going with a trend, coming back to an order block. But we'll go with it. We'll stick with what we got. Let's just get rid of this. So we know we've got a 27 pip range at the moment. Let's go down to the 1 minute. We know we're on the downturn as well at the moment. You can see a massive range on here, to be fair. Let's get our goalposts in. Just checking on my trade there. Yeah, I took about £6 or £7 profit on that. That's happy with that. Let that go. Because something else I'm testing as well at the moment, which I'm going to be bringing into the group very soon. So we're just going to get the lines half 8. Okay. And as we mark these up, text 8:30 AM start. Excuse me. And then we're going to go, it's generally 10:30. However, we normally see how the markets are acting for us. And then from there, we take a decision whether we're going to go to there or whether we're happy with what we're taking. Or if we're not getting where we want to be, we can cut our session short. The main reason we do this is simply because we don't want to overtrade. We know the London Open is starting to come in. There's a change of hands on the order books from Asian to the London session from 8:30 to around about 9 o'clock. Then 9 o'clock, we do get into the London session properly. From there, we can try and identify areas of structure, which is really hard on this because it's just ranging at the moment, okay? Again, what you're seeing is overall, that was the range that we were in. So and there was only around about 27, but in fact, that might be less than 27 pips because we've now got it down there. Yeah, 27 pips. So we just need to be a little bit careful. I just want to try and make this as informational as possible to get you guys set up with this. So we generally do what we call the path as well. So this is going to be a bit of a bad example because the range has not been much, but it's on the 1 minute. And what happens is when you come down on these range, you want to be the more prominent areas, okay? Doesn't have to be precise, just the more prominent areas, and I'll explain why. So as you're doing this, you do this, so it's the high, low areas, okay? And basically what this does is, excuse me, this maps out what's happening on the higher time frames, okay? And we're just going to try and be not precise, but give a little indication with this. We'll go down to here, up there, here, bounce, 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 the 8:30, and then we've had a huge spike down, to be fair. So we've missed some potential things on here. Now what happens is you've got inside of the path is the 1 minute chart. Okay, now if I go up 2 time frames to the 15-minute, you'll see that path starts to constrict. Okay, coming down, up, down, up, and it's getting tighter. Go to the half hour, and it's tighter still. And it's pretty precise on the eye when you look at it this way, to be fair. This is just giving you an idea of this sort of thing here. So you've got to move up before the move down, okay? You've got a point there, it's come in, it's respecting into that area right now of that zonal point on the half hour, okay? So generally when you get your moves in, you're looking for some sort of retrace in and a reaction and a bounce off, or maybe a push right the way through to then come back up to mitigate into an imbalance area here to then push down to the lower side. Okay, it'll make sense as we move on. It's just something you've got to practice with yourself. From there, guys, we go back to the 1 minute. Let's go down. And the reason, again, why I do this, I can sort of identify excuse me, areas of supply on the top end and then areas of demand on the bottom. So again, because we're working on the 1 minute chart, I'm going to use that pullback there as an area of where we can possibly come back to today. Okay, so that there is, let's have a look. That is a supply area, supply zone. Okay, just ignore this bit on the bottom because this looks like it's just going to push through, to be fair. So it's a bit of a bad example. So what you've got at the moment, you've got your goalpost set, you've got your crossbar on the top, you now come down. Okay, you've got a high point, and at the moment, you've got a low point. Now, what's happened here is you broke that structure there. So what's happened is, as we've come down, and just take a look at this, as we've come across and we've come up and down, high, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, 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 high, we've come down and we've created another lower low. Okay, so again, very visual. Get your stuff marked out, highs, lower lows. Hasn't broke structure up here, lower high. And I hope you're taking notes on these guys. This is liquidity area. Okay, this is a liquidity area. So this is it's an equal lower low. Okay. This was to induce buyers, if that makes sense. So we've got a lower high because as it's come back up to retrace, it hasn't broke that structure there. Then because we've induced buyers on here, as you can see, liquidity is residing along here, lower highs. The liquidity is being taken out, all of this, and then it's pushed through, creating a new lower low. Okay. And then we got another push back up to the higher side on the half-year point. And we've got a lower high. Now, at the moment, this is definitely a lower low. Okay, so we just need to be visual. We'll get rid of that. We can see that this is the breaker structure point. Okay, so we'll get rid of our dotted line. We've identified that. Get our trend line. Not there. Let's be visual. This is a breaker structure. Okay, as you can see there, we've got a breaker structure. So now we're trying to find an entry point. So our entry points based upon what we have at the moment is simple. Short position. It's going to be this here. Excuse me. Because we've got the high point here to there. That there is what we call our order block. Okay. Order block or fire block. Okay. One or two similar things. So I'm just going to put that there. We are looking for, in essence, we're looking for the retracement to come up. Okay. The retracement to come back up to respect that if it's a continuation downtrend on the market, come up and touch entry. Bang us in. We've got 4 pip stop loss. And then we're looking for the entry to come back down to at least respect the liquidity area. So again, we'll put this here. This here is where liquidity resides. Okay, so that's where the money is at the moment. We're waiting, we're working within this swing point. Okay, yes, the overall picture, we could be moving to somewhere else, but we are working on the 1 minute chart. We are concentrating the goalposts in on a 2-hour session. So we work within the parameters of where the trend is going at the moment, and then we work on the last swing point. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video. We'll see what happens. We'll come back to this shortly. And my coughing's under control, so that's a good thing, to be fair. Again, I hope you're taking notes. It's good to be back. We're going to get into this slowly. I just want you guys to start practicing doing this sort of stuff, and I'll be back in a moment, guys, and we'll see if this enters us on a trade. If it doesn't, it just means that we've possibly come up on a retracement, and we possibly only went around about 50%. So again, one of the other things that could happen is, let's take a look. One of the other things that could happen is we could just do that. If I just change that, forget what them fibs are at the moment. If we just do that, we may just get a retracement to 50%. Sometimes the retracements will just come to 50%, then come down on a continuation move. But hopefully we will get what we call a discount price, because that's what these things are. There's a couple of areas within that swing point that will be respected. The first one is the premium price. Premium price is normally 50% of the swing area. Okay. From there, there's another one, which is the 0.71 area to the 786. It gives you a bit more heavily discounted area. But if you want, generally, if you want the Black Friday deal, it's normally the most heavily discounted price, which is the return back to the previous order block from the start of that swing point. And that's what we're aiming for today. Okay. So again, one or two areas where this could be respected from. One is a 50% touch and push from here and a head down to take the liquidity down on here. The other one is what we're waiting for, which is the optimum entry to give us the best discount ever, which would be this order block. Okay, so we'll pause the video from there. We'll see which one it respects, which one it goes to, and then we'll take it from there, guys. So I will see you in a bit. Hi guys, let's just have a quick sneak peek back to where we are. Let's take a look. Again, I do apologize about the coughing. Get that handsome face of mine that a little bit bigger. Right, so at the moment, you can see we spoke about we had a lower high, a lower low. This here is the 50% area. Again, you can see 0.5. It's past that area at the moment. It looks like we're heading into what we'll possibly call the more heavily discounted areas, a 0.71. And again, I'll just show you that sort of stuff there. We'll just mark that out. Looks as if that's your money zone. Okay, this is where this is beautiful, because again, I didn't know that this was going to happen. Okay, there's some what we call confluence. Now, confluence is, you see, a 786 and 71. That will be the next go-to area for me after the 50% area of the premium price has appeared. That's the next area I will go to. However, the order block, which is normally generally a more heavily discounted area, this order block beautifully coincides with the 71 and the 786. So this is a good area, to be fair. If we drill deeper, okay, again, I'm a very visual person. If we drill deeper, you can see on here, okay, the 50%, we can see between this point here, let's just take a look. So we've got the last down. This here, you see where that wick is on the bottom of the cell? The selling is in power, is in power, is in power. We can see, excuse me, we can see there was no more buyers come in until we wicked upon there. Okay, so that is heavily buying, selling power. Okay, so that is where there's been imbalance. We've come up, we broke through that area, which is the 50%, which is nested within that imbalance. But also right now, if I get the fire wand out, and this is just my sort of point and stick. So what we've got here, we've come down, we broke heavily through the 50%. We are now heading towards the 71. It's more or less bouncing off there because this area here is what we call a money zone. Okay, This is a money zone for two reasons. It's a heavily discounted priced area, but also on this occasion, the order block, which is what we have here, is residing beautifully. Let's just see if I can get a better color. The order block, which is this here, is residing beautifully just on where the 71 and 78.6 is. Okay, I brought down my entry a little bit further down from the order block area, which is from the body. Okay, just so it gives me what we call our spread on our, what you call them, it's our spread on our brokers. So we're going to get in a little bit earlier. From here, this just shows you how tight things can be, just to be extra visual. This is a 71786. Okay, the money zone itself, it's come back to more or less respect it. We're not even a pip, not even one pip from hitting entry. Okay, it's not lost, because we may still get this push up and into the zone, then hopefully go into the heavier discounted areas, if that makes sense. We just pull back out. We can see from an imbalance sort of area. Let's have a look. So we've got the candle here pushing down sellers. When was the last up came in? We come down, 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 new candle. We've come down, then we've pushed up here. So this wick here, okay, this wick here is where, to this wick is where the imbalance is. We've come in to respect this imbalance area now. It hasn't quite touched the money zone, as I would call it, 71 and 786. This might actually go down now and push down into this, in all fairness, but we're going to hold fire. Hopefully we might get a little bit of a retracement to come up to enter in from that heavily discounted area. We're all about the best price. If we don't get the entry from here, all's not lost. All we do is we wait for a break of structure, and that break of structure is simply if this comes down to play out from here, we are just simply moving our area of entry down to the next low high swing point area. I hope that bit makes sense. I'll come back in the next 5-10 minutes to see where we are with price action at the moment with this. I'm hoping this is giving you a little bit of an indication on how we play this. And we only do this for that 2-hour session, to be fair. Just stop the share and pause the video. Right, hi guys. So I've just spent the last 5 minutes. I've just spent the last 5 minutes explaining something which I've just found I haven't been recording, to be fair. So let's take a look. You'll see a few of the things being put on here. I was talking about this and I thought I was sharing. So we've got the prices come back into what we call our 71 and 786. Okay, but not only that, it's come into the actual order block. So we've got the heavily discounted Black Friday deal going on here. Okay, now as you can see on here, this is just an example of an imbalanced area where price can come back to respect to. We've got the up candle here, the buyers. The buyers are in control. Okay, so what's happening is, in fact, it'll be from around about there. Okay, so what's happening is buying power. Sellers have come back down. Liquidity resides here. Okay, so what we can do is we can expect price, if it continues to come down within this swing point area, is price can most certainly come down to this imbalanced area and respect the 50%. Okay, so if we do that, change that to improper price action, IP here. Okay, this could be an area that price is going to respect to. We'll just see if it does come down and respect into this. If it did that, this area here is a 1 to, let's take a look. This will be around about a 1 to 1.35, but we're not going for that. We're going to try and go for the bigger impulse move, which is on the swing point further down to here, which is where liquidity is for a 1 to just under 3%. Okay, so again, I'm going to keep these areas on. These are key areas, important areas, areas that you can learn to chart and mark up yourself within your swing points to help you identify them. Again, this is what we call our 1 minute Forex fire scalper. Scalping used or tends to get a really heavily sort of branded name where it's fast and furious. It doesn't have to be. Again, I'm doing this in front of your eyes. I have my goalposts. You can tell by my voice that I'm not stressed about getting into a trade. I know between swing point A to swing point B is going to be a retracement. How far into the retracement is that going to hit on us? We are looking for the best area and the best price for us. As long as there's going to be a continuation in trend, in this instance, that continuation in trend is going to be the downtrend. We are anticipating the best price for us on this occasion being that order block, which is situated on that lower high. We have getting that entry. It's got a nice tick on the box on there. Again, if price structure holds, we should and hopefully will see a continuation in trend and a move down. It's doing that at the moment. It's playing out well. However, we have a couple of stumbling blocks and a couple of areas that are getting in our way at this time. And this is simply this little area here of imbalance. We might get a retracement off here and then a push up, breaking out of this lower high. If we get a push through this, then we might get a push back up to respect into this and then get the continuation down, giving us the lower low and the 1 to 3 on this. I hope that's making sense. I hope this being visual is helping you guys as well. We're going to pause the video. We'll come back in a moment and then we'll look at how price has reacted to our areas that we've set up on the goalposts today. Okay, so I'm just going to stop the share and I'll be back in a moment. Right, let's just take a look. Hi guys. Full screen, share screen. So again, we start off this morning and we were looking at price action, where it's been over the last 3 days, most certainly. And there's only been a 27 pip movement. So I'm not expecting much of a move today, other than possibly keep with the continuation and trend. I mean, this swing point as it is, it's only around about 18 pips or so. That's been a big impulse move from this morning. So we created, just as a recap, we created from the lower high, the impulse took us out of the breaker structure point on here. Okay, so we were anticipating an area of a move back into here, which is the order block, heavily discounted area. Again, take your notes, go through the video, you'll understand why I pick these areas. And I've identified an area for a move back down where it could be one or two things happens from this particular area. We are either going to get a respect and a bounce back off to then break out of the lower high here to sort of start the movement of a break of trend, or it's going to come down, break through, retest, and then come down and take liquidity, continuing our trend down. Again, there's not much movement as it is at the moment since we've entered. Since we've entered, we have only taken around about 5 pips of movement. Again, I've got to stress, you've just got to sit in your hands. These are your goalposts that you are going to set yourself, okay? This is going to stop you certainly over trading, okay? There's many people that's inside of this group right now that's taking advantage of this approach, this style. Again, there's many strategies out there. There's many things that sort of resonate with different people. But from my aspect, I've always been a longer term trader, okay? And that suited my lifestyle at the time, simply because I was working a 9-to-5 job, okay? Now, over the 4.5 to 5 years I've been trading now, I have certainly took as much information in as I possibly can, and I've sort of digested that. And once I was able to then do this full time from home, which I'm eternally grateful for, believe me, I'm so grateful for, because since being bad with the COVID, I've not had to sort of rely on what you call a statutory sick pay from a full-time job. I know I can make money from home, not just with trading, but with other entities that I do as well. So I just rely on myself, basically. So from there, my trading style and my lifestyle most certainly has took a turn, if that makes sense. It's evolved into something that I'm doing right here, right now. I wanted to be able to get this across in a much easier concept for people that want the best of both worlds, which is, one, you're going to learn structure and structure points and informational areas. Two, you want to be able to be at the charts at a certain time of day that suits you, but at the same time have it structured so you know that for 2 hours from here to here is what you're trading between. This is our structure point areas. We know it's going to respect something within that high to that low. It has to. Price does not move continuously up or continuously down. Price will do the zigzags, okay? So as long as we have our goalpost set, as long as we have the crossbar for our supply areas and the goal line for the demand areas, we know that we're working within that sort of entity within that time frame. And if it just goes to reverse and breaks through the previous area just above the order block of where we are at the moment on this lower high, so be it. We just know that there's a possibility for a reversal within that movement. But we will always only work within that 2 hour time frame. Again, if we do not get an entry within that 2 hour time frame, I don't stress. I just understand the price movement and the price action wasn't for me for that particular day. On here, you can see we've gone back to the entry right now. Again, I'm not stressing over this. I'm just learning the movement of the price action at this time, okay? I've got my areas of interests where I can see where price can react from at the moment. There's 4 areas, if you want to call it 4 areas. And those areas are as simple as, this is our stop loss, which is just above the previous swing point, okay? We've got our entry, which is officially got us in, okay? Our third area, which is of importance, is this imbalance area here, which coincidentally is around about 50% of our impulse move, or just below the 50% of the impulse move on the way down. And then finally, the ultimate goal, the TP area, is this liquidity area right here. And again, I always urge everybody that watches these sessions that I do, have a notepad, have a pen, write down, take your notes. If something sort of clicks for you and it's like a fog lifting around you, pause the video that you're seeing right now, take a note, a mental note, and the time where I mentioned something on here that sort of resonates with you. Something it could be imbalance, it could be order block, it could be a money zone like a 71, 786. Time stamp it, write it down on your notes, write down what it is that sort of resonated and clicked for you, and then archive it on your notebook. So what you can do is you can go back on any of the videos that I do at any given time, and if you want a refresher on your memory or something, or a refresher on what's happened with imbalance, how do you mark out this? How does it react from that? What do we anticipate from a bounce or a retest? Then you can go back to that video and watch it anytime that you want. Again, I try to give as much value and sort of honesty within my approach to trading. There's a lot of things out there at the moment where you pay for software and things like that. Again, you don't really need tools to tell you when you need to trade, to be fair. You can just simply do this from pure price action. There's nothing wrong with those tools, to be honest, but again, they're very heavily priced in all honesty. So before you even start, you're possibly looking around about 150, 160 pound a month So you've ultimately, if you're trading, you're feeling stress and pressure to try and make 150, 160 pound a month before you even take any profits off the table for yourself. So there's nothing wrong with those. It's just, for me, if you can learn something from a safe zone or a safe community like we have here, it can be something as simple as just hitting the button that you're seeing below, become a Spark or a Fire member. It's for the cost of a couple of a coffee a day, just to keep me going, keeps my channel going, and I'll help you as much as I can with regards to my approach, my mindset, and my outlook on what I'm looking at the moment. And again, we are currently in a little bit of drawdown, but I'm not worried. This is about me showing you structure points, how they react from these structure points, and you being able to, on a day-to-day basis, be able to draw these out and be able to act upon these yourselves. So again, that's just a little bit of an insight of where we are at the moment within this price action at the minute. I'm going to pause the video. We'll come back. We'll have another chat. And before the end of today's session, we're going to have an overall conclusion. We're going to look back at how the price has moved. It's a chance for you guys to sort of take some more notes. And I'm going to give you my outlook on what we're doing and where we're going to move forward and things like that. It looks as if this might actually come up and break out through the structure. I thought it might have actually come down to respect this imbalance area first, but we never know. We might actually get something come down on the downturn and then eventually move back down onto here. Okay, but we'll see what happens. We'll come back and we'll try and understand the movement of price. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and we'll be back in a moment. Hi guys, so I'm just going to share the screen again, make my handsome face a little bit bigger. So I'm anticipating now a break of structure and net sell to be hit. The reason why I'm anticipating that is, as we've made a lower high, a lower low, this is now here a lower high. Okay, now as we've made that lower high, we've come down, we've created a little bit of liquidity here. Nothing's been respected from the essence of an imbalance area. However, as we've come down, we've now broke this sort of structure here. That there's been a break of structure. Okay, so now I'm anticipating our initial. Now I'm expecting our initial area here to sort of break through this lower part here. Again, it might be a case of a breakthrough here. It enters an area or an order block here, which you can see, and we'll mark this out here. We might find it respects that area there, which coincidental is 50% of the supply area or order block of this initial move here. Again, I'll keep this marked out because I like to be open and honest and show you patterns, show you areas that we could possible be respected and things like that. And then it's going to let you guys sort of draw out these things as well, if that makes sense to you. Let's just take a look. That's the open of the order block. Again, let's just see if we can get this played out. Excuse me. So the background, that's an order block there. Just trying to be as visual as I can, guys. Again, it might just be that price is just coming in to heavily sort of take some more sort of contracts out within this area. We might still get this pushed down to the lower side. We just don't know yet. We just need to understand at this current time, this between this lower high and this lower low is the area of movement. Okay, as long as we are within this area of movement, that's our zone of play. We have just identified the area that is the most heavily discounted priced area for us to get in on the action and for us to take any profits off the table if that was to come about. And so far, It's come up to more or less come in to mitigate the lower high area, but again, it just come to tease. It's shaking what we call, it's shaking the sellers out. So a lot of people might have gotten in on this, and then as it's heading towards that SL, a lot of people might have just manually closed out the area because they've seen we've got the low here, we've created a low high, we've come down, and then we've broken, I should say, the structure point of that there, and people might have started panicking and thought, this is going the other way, let's just close out the trade, let's anticipate the move to the higher side. But again, we trust what price action is telling us, which is we've worked out that this is going to be a heavy sort of downtrend, continuation. We've got our last swing point. We've got our entries came in. As we've got our entry that came in, this structure is holding play. We've got the stop loss is one area of importance. We've got the entry, which is an area of importance. Again, I go back onto this field of play at the moment, which is the imbalance. That there is a very strong, significant area at the moment. Again, this is going to push down. I've got a feeling that this could push and respect that area. If it was to push through that wall, that barrier, it may come back to retest into that and then hopefully take liquidity on this downside. Again, however, we do have an order block on the higher side, which is this here, which would reside into. There could have been a possibility that we smashed through and took our price out here and had a retest from this area here. Again, this is just all about identifying your options that are open to you. Put these on your charts for your 2 hours. Just keep doing this day after day after day after day, and eventually you'll start seeing these areas for yourselves. Okay, so we're going to pause the video. We'll be back in a moment. We are in on this trade. I keep looking to my left because I've got trades on my live account with my Forex funds, which is something I'm testing with at the moment. I've also got that's an accelerator account, so that's a live account I've got at the moment. We're in profit with that today. I've also got a rapid account, which is it's not a live as such. You go through certain processes with that. That's going to be that's a 10K account. I do have a live accelerator 2K account, but once that account there sort of hits certain parameters, it doubles up and scales from 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32K. And as long as I can keep hitting the parameters, those will be getting scaled up. Okay, so again, lots going on. Try to get myself back into the rhythm. I hope you're finding today's session really good. Please drop your comments below. Let me know if you're taking anything away from this today. I hope you are. Remember, thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button so you'll get notified whenever I do any sort of live sessions and things like that. I'm hoping after Christmas and New Year, we start to do something where I can get people on with me with this. Though that if I do go ahead with that, that'll be for the people that are supporting the channel only. Okay, that'll be for members only. So if you want to become a member and support what I do on a day-to-day basis, click the little join button you see below as well. It's for the price of a cup of coffee. You'll get involved and you'll get inside of this. But also going into the new year, I'm hoping to start doing 1 or 2 where I can get some people in on the action with me as well, so we can talk about what's going on with the price and how we work between those goalposts. Okay, guys, so stop the share and we'll be back in a moment. At this moment in time, we are looking at, in fact, I have made my half-time cup of tea. I need to go and make one. I think we're coming back into drawdown again. So I'll go and make myself my half-time cup of tea, and then we'll see where we are at the end of this session. Okay, guys? It's nice getting back into it. See you in a bit. Hi, guys. So we're back. I can tell I'm not fully over this COVID. I'm, just been downstairs. I struggled to go up and down the stairs, to be fair. Get out of breath easy, so feel generally better in myself, but anything that's strenuous, it affects the breathing still. So again, other than that, I just need to take my time. Got me half-time cup of tea. We are just past half-time, to be fair. We're looking at around about 10 o'clock. So there's half an hour left of today in this session. It's a nice session to just get back into the basics and the stuff that I do. Today's biscuit of choice is brought to you by Toffee Crisp and Fedor. I remember when those things were only 5p when I was a little nipper. He must have get himself a nice little mansion, because now they're nearly 20p a piece now. But hey, what inflation and things like that. So again, I'm looking on my left. I'm looking at the screen on my left, my live account. That is my accelerator. At the moment, it is only a 2k account. I'm in profit at the moment of around about £30 overall on that. Using a scalping technique on the gold, which is doing really well. Something that I'm going to be bringing into the group on this as time goes on. But I'm also using that on what we call a rapid account, which is a 10k. But with that, I have to hit certain parameters, and I've got to trade a few times a week. It's called a 3-day weekly on it. Again, on that, I'm in around about $80 or $90 of profit on that. So both of them are in pretty good profit. What we're doing here today is just the general concept of Forex currency 1 minute scalping, not on gold. We're doing this on the Forex currency charts. Again, we are hovering around this order block area still, to be fair, but we're going to wait it out. We're going to see what happens within the next half hour. We'll come to a conclusion. We'll see where it plays to, and then we'll take it from there, guys. I'm going to enjoy my cup of tea, have my halftime biscuit, which is brought to you again by Toffee Crisp. And I'll speak to you guys in a bit. Excuse me. Right, so we're back, guys. Let's just take a look. Again, patience is key, and we trust the process. Let's have a look. I'm just getting a lot of notifications through. So here we are. We're now starting to enter the imbalance area, okay? And within that imbalance area, you've got 3 lines on that imbalance area, okay? One is an open, the area, which is the most important part, which is the 50%. And then you've got a close on the bottom end, because we are waiting for the spike to go through to come back in, okay? So it's mitigated into the imbalance area. However, there's still areas, the gray zone, which resides a lot of contracts. It's coming to test that, and then it's bouncing straight back off it. So, like I say, we go back on what are our 4 areas. Stop loss area, we see it's come to nearly test that swing point there. The entry, it's tested that multiple times. We're now heading into that 3rd area, or have headed towards that 3rd area, which is the imbalance. And again, I don't make this stuff up. I'm doing it live. I'm doing it right in front of you. I'm recording the pure price action as it happens on the 1 minute chart. Now, you just need to let that sink into you right now, because again, when people think scalping, people think in, out, people think it's quick, it's fast. It can, and it cannot be. But at the same time, you can learn so much from scalping. Excuse me, just take a drink. Scalping a 1 minute chart and putting your structure points on, which is what we're doing today. And again, you cannot make this stuff up. The points of interest that are residing within these areas, which is the swing point in total, you've got a few different areas that can hold structure, which is imbalance, which is within the swing point. You could have little bits of swings within those where resides liquidity as well. Again, we had one here. There was a break structure on there. On here, okay, I'm just going to get rid of that now because that's sort of played out. We've come down. You can see here we had a little bit of liquidity on this here, residing along here, and it's come and broke out of that. So I suppose in essence what we could do, you could possibly get in on a re-entry again on here and go for a double up on this. I'm still, for me, still this whole structure, this is what I'm playing from. I'm waiting for the breakthrough here. I'm waiting for the breakthrough here to bounce to then come down to the lower side. And I'm hoping that's still going to play true. Still hope it's going to play out. Again, I will hold this trade to see what happens with it. Going on my live trading at the moment. A little bit of drawdown on my live side, which is on the gold scalping at the minute, or on my 2K live account, and let's just see if I can take a look. My bigger live account, the 10K one, there's a little bit of profit on that at the moment. We're going to pause the video. We'll be back in a second, but we can at least see this is doing what we've anticipated as well. It's starting to come down to respect the area of imbalance. Again, we've got highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So you can see when we talk about structure points, okay, we've got structure points within this as well, and it's respecting that as we go. So if we do that, you've got an area up on here which is called here parallel channel. Okay, got that. That's your trend. That's the move down. We could be anticipating the move down again. The chart's getting a little bit messy, but these tools are here for you to help identify certain areas of structure for yourself as well, to see how it forms. Okay, so again, I'm just going to leave that 50% thing there. In fact, I think I can get rid of that one now, and we'll see if this sort of whole structure coming down onto here. We'll come back in a moment. We'll see what this channel's doing. We'll see if it comes down to sort of respect. I'm sort of expecting somewhere along the lines of, we'll see. It's a problem when you start getting a lot of clips. I'm sort of expecting something along the lines of there coming in to mitigate into that 50% there, what I'm highlighting at the moment. We'll see what happens. That's the anticipated move. We'll see if we get one of two reactions we're expecting. Comes in to touch on here 50%, it's either going to bounce like off a trampoline and shoot through and hit our order stop, okay, or it's going to crash through the wall like a raging bull, and then it's going to come down, breaking through the whole of the imbalance to then retrace the retest into the 50% to then give us our liquidity grab on the downside. We'll see what happens, guys. I hope you're getting so much out of this today. See you in a bit. Hi guys, and we're back with the final conclusion. On this occasion has actually came out and stopped us. However, this is a learning process. This is me showing you the real raw approach on what I do on a day-to-day basis, on how I trade, what I look for, how I identify, and how I want you guys to go on the charts and do this as well. Again, as you can see from the chart on here, we came up and we spiked through, and we've gone through, and it's sort of mitigating right now into an area excuse me, that I was seeing earlier on that could possibly go to if it hit our SL, which is the order block here. excuse me for the coughing. So you can see at this time it's come up to mitigate beautifully into that order block. Okay, and again, I had this marked out, can't make it up. There's the order block mitigation on there. Unfortunately, it did come through and spike through our SL. All's not lost. Let's just anticipate and look what's happened on the further downside. We were looking for a mitigation coming into the 50% and then a bounce off. And if it did that, we were going to be doing one or two things. It was either going to do what it's just done now, go back up, push through our SL and hit the order block on the higher side, or it was going to crash. It was going to crash through that 50%, which we have here, and then it will come back and retest that. That was what I was ultimately waiting for. Unfortunately, it's done the latter. It's done the first thing. It's come down to try and respect into the area. It's come into the mitigation of the imbalance, and then it's took off. As opposed to, we needed the weakness of the euro to continue for then it to push through. The weakness of the USD, sorry, for it to push through. No, that was wrong. It's the weakness of the euro for the USD to be stronger, for it to push through the imbalance area, to do the retest, to come down, to go to the liquidity on the downside. We didn't get that. It's a lesson. we've learned from that today. Something good to look back onto. And it looks like I'm just in time of finishing because I'm getting the breathing problems with the condition I'm getting with this silly COVID. So as we can see on the downturn here, we can see we had some level of a parallel channel continuation down. We can get rid of that. We can certainly get rid of this. We can get rid of this and just move the fire one up. We can see it's respected that order block nicely. From there, guys, we'll get rid of that. So from there, again, because we've come out and mitigated out this area, I'm possibly looking at something along the lines of, now, if I was to continue, I would possibly look at something along the lines of that being a sort of entry area, going for a long position. Hopefully this order block area in balance with whole structure, and then we will come back out and take the liquidity on the higher side. I'm going to leave that there, see how it plays out. Again, this is learning curve. We're learning structure. We're learning how things play out. It's good to be back. Just going to stop the share and go on a bigger picture with you guys. And let's just have a little bit of a chat before I head off the charts and upload this. Right, so yeah, the last 2.5 to 3 weeks have been hard for me, most certainly, simply because I got tested positive with COVID, and I like to try and give as much value and honesty, integrity, and give that out in abundance as much as I can, because after all, there's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of things at work. There's a lot of things that you can pay heavily for as well, in all honesty. It's not to say that they don't work, they do work. It's just that by the time you start to learn the process of trading and things like that, you've got to attain certain profit levels to pay for those things. From my way of my trade, my way of looking at structure, my way of looking at the markets, okay, they work as well also, but I'm trying to take away stress from the average person to sort of try and learn to trade and paying these high-end costs, if that makes sense. That's where this comes into play. Again, I'm not always profitable. I'll be honest with you. But one thing I am, which is key, is consistent. I'll show up to the charts each and every day. I mark my areas of importance. I know these swing points are going to be respected and tested some way, shape, or form. I've done that today in front of you, and hopefully you've taken something away from this session today. I don't need to do videos to show you perfection, okay? That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to show you guys the ability to identify structure, why these areas are identifiable, why are these areas going to be points of interest, and how do we sort of move around the charts knowing what happens when we either break through these areas to continue, or whether we sort of break structure to go back on a different direction of trend, okay? And I'll continue to do these videos because, again, it's not about being perfect. It's not about showing you everything that falls into place and being correct. We do this, we do the structure, we see it play out, we identify these areas, we see how this plays out, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, and then I show you why it's went the other way or why it's gone correct for us. And again, we've sort of spoke heavily today on discounted price areas, why I pick these discounted price areas, how they become those discounted price areas, what could be in the way in the middle of those swing points, and what could be a stumbling block, and what could be causing the wall of frustration for price to continue. Okay, so I hope you've taken so much out of this today. I'm glad I'm back on the track, getting back together again. I do apologize if I've been coughing a little bit today. It's just nice to be back in front of the charts and putting together some more sessions. Again, going into the future, If you do support the channel, click on the little join bit just for the price of a cup of coffee. It does help me immensely, helps me massively to produce more content. And from there, guys, I will hopefully in the near future, especially going into after Christmas in the new year, when the markets, because it's starting to slow down a bit now, when the markets start to get a bit more sort of traction and wheels in the motion and that, I'll possibly getting the guys that do support me on this, I'll possibly get you on a live with me and we can talk about these areas and we can have a more in-depth sort of chat with each other. I hope you're looking forward to something like that. It's something that I want to try and head towards. Again, I don't want to try and sort of put everything too much together where it's going to interrupt the flow on what I do with regards to talking about what I'm looking at, if that makes sense, to get too many questions. But we can structure something along the lines where it's going to work for best for yous, but also work best for me to be able to attain a bit more intimacy with regards to the trading and things like that. So again, my name has been John, Mr. Forex Fire. It is now just after 22:11, 15th of November, Monday morning. I'm off to get changed and I've got to go and take my car for its MOT today. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying what you've seen today. Please drop a comment, give it a thumbs up, hit the join, support the channel. Again, if you want to see more of these, let me know and I'll certainly get onto it and I'll do another one tomorrow for you guys. Okay, see you all later. See you later.